Now, my third message. I listened to some of your meetings. Unfortunately, I had to go at camp because I'm a slave and I've been driven into different directions. So, but from what I heard, I felt a bit concerned that you were not giving enough attention to the rule of law on the internet. We seem to forget that we are in an information age. And again, I like to borrow from Bill Gates on one of the panels. I was honored to be with him. And I asked him, if you want to tell us what is the future as of now? He said the world went into first an information technology development. Then we are now in an information age. We are moving into what we must realize is a wisdom age. And the wisdom age comes as a transition, after a transition of what he called knowledge age. We are still in the infancy. He said what we see now is only the plumbings. We are in the plumbing period. So next we will move to knowledge age. So in other words, how to use the information age in a knowledgeable way and for knowledge promotion. Then, and that's why again, one of my job roles at the United Nations is as co-chair of the Global Alliance on ICT for Development. So one aspect of knowledge is how to use this knowledge, calling it information technology for development. But then he said what we are going to see before the end of this century is what we call the wisdom age. We are not using information in a wise way, and we are not using it intelligently yet, because we're still in the early years of knowledge and information. So I said, okay, so what next? He said we will have to think of what he called artificial intelligence, bioinformation, bioinformatics, biotechnology. This is using information technology in biology, which of course is happening, in creating intelligent instruments that can move and act without instructing them. They can react to the needs of their environment. And that is again happening, as I'm sure you all know, and I don't need to spend time on it. But what I wanted to say, in relation to the legal community, I am concerned that lawyers are not very respectful of information technology in their practice. One. Two, they have not taken enough action on providing rule of law on the internet. Do you know that there is no protection on the internet for any intellectual property rights, or any other rights for that matter, except the domain name? ICANN, and we are on ICANN's, we represent business community in the Arab world on ICANN, various agencies, including domain name system. The only protection on the internet is for the domain name. And a special system has been developed by the Internet Consortium for Assigned Names and Numbers, which is known as ICANN, to resolve disputes only on domain name registrations. For example, I woke up one morning and I found a website which says, by an American, "No rush, no hurry, come to Talal Abu-Ghazaleh for a free haircut for your dog." My name is Talal Abu-Ghazaleh, I assumed. And I'm not in the haircutting business for dogs yet. I may move into that business, but I have not. So I immediately contacted this person, but my legal department, and he said, "You are harassing me. Talal Abu-Ghazaleh is the name of my website, my domain name." He said, "But this is Talal Abu-Ghazaleh." He said, "No, I'm not Talal Abu-Ghazaleh. I am Talal Abu-Ghazaleh." He put the space before in the middle of my name, so for Arabs can understand the difference, Tal, which means hill, of Abu-Ghazaleh, instead of, and I said Talal Abu-Ghazaleh, as an Arab must know that Tal means hill, so this is not his name. Anyway, so I complained to I can't develop a system for dispute resolution on the internet for domain names only, I repeat. And that was at WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization in Geneva. And I got my name back. And the website was, of course, disconnected. He couldn't, because they said Talal Abu-Ghazaleh is a famous name. Now that's unfortunate, because if Talal Abu-Ghazaleh was not a famous name, I could not get my name back. Because I cannot register Talal Abu-Ghazaleh in 20,000 configurations. Talal Abu-Ghazaleh Int, Talal Abu-Ghazaleh International, Talal Abu-Ghazaleh Associates, because each of these names is a different domain name. And on top of that, this is generic. You have to go to the CC level, country level. So there is a country registration in some 200 countries, and it's an endless process. So that is the only protection we have on the internet. Now, that is not enough. And I have addressed the intellectual property community, International Congress, and I think we need to put pressure. Don't wait for the GATS process. The GATS, the General Agreement on Traded Services at the WTO, is dormant because the negotiation process leads to no end. They've developed a special negotiation process which is offers and acceptances between countries bilaterally, which doesn't work, and I've complained about this to the WTO Director Generals all the way in various occasions, but unfortunately this is not changing. So we need to develop, because what is the most important brand name? And that's law. I need to protect my name. It is in the virtual world. Google has become the #1 brand name with a value of over $70 billion. In the US alone, the value of brand names of information society companies, I'm not talking about companies in the real world, I'm talking about only companies who exist, like Yahoo, etc., who exist only, or Wikipedia, who exist only on the internet. $20 trillion. That's more than GDP of the US, or probably the combined GDP of US and Europe. That is why I'm addressing my senior colleagues in the profession, who are all more knowledgeable than I, that something has to be, the legal profession has to address the issue of the rule of law on the internet. Because this is the future source of value, of asset. This is the most important asset location. It's in the virtual world, it's not in the real world.